Why buy travel insurance? In this video, I'm going to be sharing 3 questions to ask yourself when deciding whether or not you need travel insurance. Now, I realize this is not the most exciting topic to cover, but it's an important one, and I promise to make this video as quick and as painless as possible. And hey, if you're here checking me out for the first time, my name is Ben Tennis, pronounced just like the game tennis, and I own and run my own travel agency. And my goal here for this channel is to provide up-to-date travel resources to help you plan your next vacation. So if you find value in this kind of content, consider subscribing. So before we jump into the 3 questions, let's define what exactly is travel insurance. Travel insurance is basically just protection from anything bad that could happen to you while you're traveling. That could be from losing your luggage to losing your life. So what does travel insurance cover? The basic categories are medical insurance, emergency evacuation, accidental death or dismemberment, trip protection, which includes cancellations, interruptions, or trip delays, and baggage protection. Now, most of the travel insurance policies you'll find combine most of these categories. So what are the 3 questions you need to ask yourself when deciding whether or not you need travel insurance? Question number 1, are you going to be traveling outside the country? So when you're traveling outside the country, that usually means a bigger trip, bigger investment, and more money you can lose. One thing to note is that travel insurance is not a replacement for the coverage you have at home. Most people think that just because you have medical insurance, that it will cover you if you have an accident overseas, and that's simply not the case, unless you have global healthcare coverage. Even if you're traveling to the UK or Canada where healthcare is free, it is only free to the residents that are currently living in that country and not the foreigners. So if you end up needing medical care in those countries, you're going to have to pay out of pocket for that, and we all know how expensive medical bills can be. Now, one thing to consider if you're traveling overseas is what kind of activity you're planning on doing. If you're doing some kind of hiking or some kind of riskier activity, travel insurance might be a good idea in case you have an accident. Let's say you're hiking overseas and you slip and fall down a cliff, and the only way to get you out is by airlifting you out. Now, travel insurance would cover an emergency evacuation, and they would reimburse you or pay for your airlift to a nearby hospital or even fly you back home where you can get treated in your own country. So if you're doing some of these riskier activities, this type of coverage protection could save you thousands of dollars or even save you from bankruptcy. So the second question you need to ask yourself when deciding whether or not you need travel insurance is there a good chance I'll need to cancel? Maybe you have a demanding job where you need to be pulled back into the office instead of taking that trip you wanted to take, or maybe you have an elderly parent who needs your help. Trip protection can reimburse you the cost of the trip in case you need to cancel for a covered reason. Now, what is a covered reason? It depends on the policy. Most, if you're looking to have a policy where you can cancel last minute, is a cancel for any reason type policy, and that certainly would get you covered for whatever reason your cancellation might be. With trip protection, you get back the money from flights and other reservations you have made. Now, you could also be covered with trip protection using certain type of credit cards, so just be sure to check with your own credit card company to see if you're covered. Let's briefly touch on baggage protection. You can insure your possessions against theft, loss, or damage with items such as laptops, cameras, or tablets. Now, you could also be insured for these things if you have renters or homeowners insurance. It is important to note that baggage protection does not cover everything in your bag. Things like glasses, passports, tickets, cash, keys, and cell phones would not be covered. And finally, let's go to the third question when deciding whether or not you need travel insurance, and that is, can I afford to lose what I paid for the trip? Now, travel insurance is one of those things where you don't need it until you do. And 9 out of 10 times probably you'll go on a trip, you'll have fun, you'll come back, and nothing bad will happen. You might be saying to yourself, man, I could be saving hundreds of dollars by not doing the travel insurance. Nothing bad ever happens. But all it takes is one time. Maybe that one time you go on that trip and you decide not to take the travel insurance just to save a few $100s, and then something bad does happen. And suddenly your $3,000 trip turns into a $6,000 trip or more. Now, I myself use travel insurance for my trips for this very reason alone. I'll gladly pay the extra money because you're only one trip away from a potential financial disaster if you're not properly covered. I don't know about you, but I want that peace of mind knowing that what I pay for my trip will stay about what I pay for that trip, and not potentially being out hundreds or thousands of dollars because I wasn't properly insured. Now, I work with a travel insurance company called Leisure Care, and I offer it as an add-on to anybody who books a trip with me. Now, I'm not limited to just using Leisure Care. I can certainly use other travel insurance companies or supplier insurance companies, but it is my preferred insurance company. If you're interested in learning more about Leisure Care, I will link information to it in the description below. There you can find information on the different policies they have, as well as the different coverages that you can get. I will say that the main benefit for using Leisure Care compared to other insurance companies is that they will offer a cash refund when you file a claim. Now, that's different than other insurance companies. Most companies, let's say you get the cruise line travel insurance, they're not going to give you a cash refund. They're going to give you a travel credit. Now, if you had a bad experience in that cruise line and you don't want to go on there, you're kind of out of luck. So, question for you. Have you ever been on a trip that ended up costing you way more than it should have, either because you didn't have travel insurance or because you were underinsured? Comment below. I'd love to hear your stories. I know there'll be some good ones out there, so I can't wait to hear them. So before I end this video, I'm going to leave you with some travel insurance tips to consider when deciding on a policy. First, you want to know what the exclusions are. If it covers medical conditions, make sure it also covers pre-existing conditions as well. You also want to make sure that the coverage you have covers you in the countries that you are visiting. And also that your travel insurance has 24-hour assistance in case something goes wrong. And also protection from natural disasters, civil unrest, war, accidental pregnancy. All right, I'm just kidding about that last one. Also know that travel insurance companies usually do not cover extreme sport activities such as skydiving, base jumping, whitewater rafting, that sort of thing. So if you're looking to do those type of activities, you might be hard-pressed to find an insurance company that will cover those activities. So basically, if you're looking to do something dumb and reckless, you might be out of luck. So be smart. And finally, if something does happen to you on your trip, you're going to have to file a claim in order to get reimbursed. So be sure to keep track of all your receipts. Take a picture of your receipts, have your spouse take a picture of your receipts, or a traveling partner take a picture of your receipts, because I can assure you, if you do not have the proper documentation, you will not get reimbursed. And that's it. Hope you found value in this video. If you did, hit the like button for me. And I want to thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.